Excellent movie, entertaining, exceptional animation, excellent family show, singing, dancing,
I love
and
this
show,
movie.
all great.
The storyline was
wonderful.
endearing. It was a great
songs
movie,
with
and
love
our
message,
love
behind
baby,
it.
love very upbeat, with
Love
a
the
genuine
movie.
message.
Disney
on
couldn't
it.
handle
Disney
it.
did
Definitely
not
stand
handle
to
it.
be Encanto in 2020.
I'm gonna say it. Encanto isn't a good movie.
Have you all noticed in recent years that Disney keeps making movies that showcase a certain culture or people, and each time people say it's the best movie ever and that has no flaws? This started with Coco back in 2017, but at least with Coco, it was a good movie that actually uses the culture of Mexico to tell its story. I've already gone over why I don't think Soul's a good movie, but seeing as Encanto is getting the same treatment, I feel it's only right for me to give an alternate view of the movie that isn't just blindly praising it like everyone else is. Like, come on, can you really say that this movie is flawless? Did you even see the same movie I did? It just feels like Disney puts as many characters in the movie that people can project themselves onto so they can relate to it and see no flaws in them. No, Sarah, you aren't like Isabella. You don't have an obligation to your family to always be perfect. Get the hell out of here. But wait, before you go, you should hit that subscribe button and the bell. So help me God, if you don't hit that freaking bell, I'll get so mad at you. And while you're at it, you might as well hit that like button and comment too. You know what I mean? All right, let's get back into the video. So you might be wondering, why the hell do I dislike Encanto so much? Well, for one, it feels like it tries really hard to get you to think it's a Colombian movie, but when you finally start watching it, it just isn't at all. Like, why even call it Encanto if you aren't gonna delve deep into the actual Colombian culture, other than doing the most bare minimum shit? They did the same shit with Soul. It just makes me think they sit in the boardroom at Disney and going, "Oi, we need a new movie about culture so people can watch. Ooh, how about a movie about black people? But what do black people like that isn't stereotypical? Oh, black people like jazz, right? Dude, you're right. But what do you call it? Soul, because, you know, black people love soul. They're soulful. I don't know about you, but I'm just getting a little tired of the same shit every year from Disney. Every year is now the same shit. Coco, Soul, Encanto, and now Turning Red. When will this push for cultural movies that aren't even cultural stop? I guess never, since people don't seem to see through this bullshit. But what's next? A movie about fat people called Big? It honestly isn't even that far off at the rate we're going with these movies, and it's a shame. I miss the days of trying to tell a compelling story in movies, when it wasn't just squeezing every dollar from a group of people or exploiting the nostalgia from a generation that grew up with the movies you created when you actually had heart. Nowadays, we get the same regurgitated shit time and time again when it's clear there's no heart put into it. Look at movies like Ice Age, Hotel Transylvania, Ralph Breaks the Internet. It's really disappointing to see the slow decline of quality over the years as some companies care more about pandering than actually making something worthwhile. No wonder there hasn't been a single movie from recent years that's been regarded as a classic like the movies from 20 years ago. So why exactly isn't Encanto a good movie? It comes down to a couple things, honestly, but my main complaint is the characters themselves. But before we delve deep into why the characters aren't good, I want to have a small tangent on the animation style of the movie. The art style itself looks amazing, but the camera work in certain scenes I just hate to look at and give the movie such an eerie vibe. There are a couple specific shots in the movie that I just hate looking at because seeing it's a movie, it just doesn't make sense to see. I've compared this movie's camera work to that of a music video because that's honestly what it seems like they're going for with it. And it doesn't work. Stuff like the turnaround shot in the Meet the Family song, the Dancing on Luisa's song, Surface Pressure, and the entire segment of her song where they show imagery of the Titanic and Cerberus take away from the moment and break the illusion of the story. Especially since the fucking Titanic was made 9 years after the mountains were formed around the village. Just seems a little bit lazy to me to use the easiest imagery you could muster when compared to the lyrics of the song. It's a shame because it doesn't even have to be this bad. In the standout song of the movie, We Don't Talk About Bruno, it's clear they tried their hardest with the visuals. The camera work complements the mysterious feeling that the character Bruno exuded to the audience up to that point in the movie. The slow pan up with the twist when he walks in the frame was an excellent framing device to demonstrate how the family sees him as an evil person with intent to harm those around him with his visions. Alright, I've gone into cinematography enough. Let's go over the basic story and why I feel the story is so horrendous. The story of the movie follows Mirabel and the Madrigal family as the third child of Peppa is about to get his powers. We are introduced to Mirabel, who was the only child born in the family to not grow up to have a gift, being treated as a lesser person because she isn't as special as the other kids in the family. The story of the movie follows Mirabel as she tries to find the reason the magical house they live in begins to crack, all while trying to connect with her sisters and their family. All of Mirabel's family genuinely treats her like shit for no other reason than because she has no gift like the rest of them. And no other person gives her more shit than Abuela. She has no faith in her, looks at her like she's a disappointment, and on top of that, forces her to sleep in the nursery for the kids before they get their gift. Why not just give her a room in the house that isn't magical? The treatment of Mirabelle from Abuela carries over to everyone else in the family. Even her own mother tends to side with Abuela when it comes to Mirabelle. There's no reason for everyone to be such an asshole to her. Why does Isabella hate her? Mirabelle has done nothing but be nice to everyone around her, but because she has no gifts, she's seen as a problem child when it's nothing to do with her. Even if she was cursed, why would you blame her for something she has no control over? Just like with Bruno, my man loves his family, has only used his power for people when they asked him to, but because the future had bad news a lot of the time, they blamed him for it. That's like asking the weatherman, what's the weather gonna be tomorrow? And then punching him when he says it's gonna rain. Why blame him for the events he warned you of instead of, preparing for them and trying to be ready for when things go wrong? Bruno and Mirabelle really were treated like shit all throughout the movie, and in the end, we have no resolution. People like Peppa go from hating him and being mad at even the slightest mention of him to just straight up hugging him when seeing him after 10 years of him being presumed gone. You don't get to act like you missed him after being mad at him for shit out of his control. Why even make him apologize for shit that isn't his fault? At the end of the movie, they should be apologizing to him for making him live in the walls for 10 plus years because he was too scared to disappoint his family. It's victim blaming for something out of his control. A lot of the movie feels really forced. Like, to move the plot along, they just use a song that vaguely has to do with the problem and act like singing solves all the problems the character had. In both Luisa's and Isabella's songs, they both magically had their problems solved after singing. Like with Louisa, she started singing about how she had a lot of pressure to be strong and not to disappoint anyone, and by the end she had a revelation that she needed to relax sometimes. Mirabelle did nothing but to stand there since the only reason she went was to ask about the cracks in the wall, not ask how she's doing. Same with Isabella. She sings about always being perfect, and by the end she realizes she needs to relax. There's a recurring theme here. The character starts singing about their problems, they realize the issue, and then they immediately act like they're better now before the Abuela comes and ruins the progress they made. But the issue is that the song itself shouldn't be the end-all be-all to solving the problem. There's no growth. Just sing a song and everything's fine. It's a cheap cop-out to any actual character growth and doesn't show a character learning any lasting lessons to help them get better in the future. The whole movie just has characters sing and all their problems magically fix themselves with nothing other than a, wow, I'm so much better now. So many characters have this issue of flip-flopping the way they act in the movie. Like Antonio. This kid went from being a sort of reserved kid, nervous and not that outspoken, to immediately having character shift as soon as he gets his gift. Comparing his mannerisms from before and after he got his gift, he is completely different. He almost seems a little arrogant to me in the way he talks to Bruno about calming his nerves, when he himself was nervous about getting his gift. Earlier, I said the movie gave me an eerie vibe. So let's talk about what I meant by that. In the beginning of the movie, when Mirabelle starts talking to the kids about what gift Antonio was gonna get and what all the gifts of the family were, this whole setup seems strange to me. In a town that idolizes the family and relies on them every day to function, don't you think the kids will grow up learning who they were and what they did for them? It's not like the gifts are secret, so why wouldn't they know them? Immediately after the song, we see someone from the town give Mirabelle a gift because she doesn't have a gift. So why did the kids not know that? It seems like the kids were just placed there only to be a stand-in for the audience and give Mirabelle an excuse to talk to the audience and explain who they are without a good reason. The entire first song in the movie is sung in the perspective of her singing directly to the audience, since she dances and sings to the camera without the camera representing someone like it did, and we don't talk about Bruno. This just gives me an eerie vibe as if the movie is trying too hard to give us the sense that the family is being so nice, when in reality there's turmoil under the surface, which we learn later on is true. A lot of the movie just gives me this sort of cult-like feeling, how the town seems to idolize the family, how the abuela dictate how things should be, how they blindly follow her, the way they were so easily able to excommunicate Bruno with no one batting an eye about it. It just seems really weird to me. Looking into the behind the scenes of the movie, it seems like it gives me some validity to my claims as well. There were a lot of early drafts in the movie that explored the topic of Isabella leaving the town to be with an outsider that had gotten in, with Mirabelle trying to convince her to come back and thinking she was kidnapped. Or how when interviewed, Lin-Manuel said his kids thought the movie was too scary and they wanted to see a kids movie instead.
In the world, there were moments in early drafts that were too scary for them. My 3-year-old has the immortal quote. At one point he grabs me and goes, "Daddy, can we watch a kids movie?"
If even after all the changes they made to the movie, I can still find it eerie. Just imagine how it would have turned out if it went that route instead of what we have today. I hope you guys like this video. I already know I'm gonna get flack after putting this out, but I wanted to put out a video that wasn't just praising Encanto just blindly. Look, I can see how people can like the movie, but don't just praise something because it has representation. Have dignity in your culture to actually have good representation in media. Don't just settle for the bare minimum from Disney. All right, that's all I wanted to say. I'm out. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you join my Discord, discord.gg/Sonny, right here. And then subscribe to the channel. That's about it. I'll see you guys in the next video.